Welcome. So I just thought that I would work through your homework questions with you. And that way, if you're having any trouble, you can just kind of follow along with this video. So you might just want to have this sheet in front of you, give the questions a go for yourself. And then if you're struggling with it, you can just look up and watch this video on it. So I think this will just be a really helpful way to work through your homework efficiently. All right. So by calculating, there we go. By calculating a common rate, determine the best buy for each of the following. We have 2 kilos of flour for $3.60 or 5 kilos of flour for $8.50. So how are we going to approach this? So I'm just going to write down my ratios for this. So it's 360 for 2 kilos, or it's 850 for 5 kilos. I'm going to figure out my unit price. So that means I'm going to figure out when it's 1 kilo here. To do that, let me grab my red. I'm going to have to divide this side by 2, like this. And that means, you might have to do some little short division here. 360. How many times does 2 go into 3? It goes in 1 time with 1 left over. How many times does 2 go into 16? It goes in 8 times because 2 8s are 16. So it's going to be $1.80. So that means it's $1.80 a kilo. Then we come over here and we're going to go, well, I have to turn this 5 kilos into 1 kilo. So I'm going to have to divide by 5. So I'm going to have to go 850 divided by 5. So I come over here and I go 5, 850. How many times does 5 go into 8? It goes in 1 time with 3 left over. How many times does 5 go into 35? It goes in 7 times. And then remember, I have to put my decimal place straight up here. Oh, I think I'm about to sneeze. Bless yourself. All right, so that is going to be $1.70. Perfect. So I did a bit of short division. Beautiful. Okay, after all of that, this means that this one is $1.70 a kilo. All right, so which is my best buy? Let me just highlight everything I've done here. So it's either $1.80 or $1.70. Hopefully you can see here that this one is cheaper. $1.70 is less than $1.80. This is my best buy. So that means at the end of the day, 5 kilos for $8.50 is the better price. That's the best buy. Buy. Let's scroll down. Let's do another one. Again, you shouldn't just be blindly watching me. You should give these questions a go yourself before watching me. Don't just be watching me. Make sure you're giving them a good go. So make sure you pause the video and you're giving it a go. All right, we have $14.40 for 12 kilos of potatoes, and we have $5.50 for 5 kilos of potatoes. I want to get this to 1 kilo of potato. So I'm going to have to divide by 12. I'm going to have to divide this by 12. So that means what I'm going to end up with is 12, 14, 40. How many times does 12 go into 14? It goes in once with 2 remainders. How many times does 12 go into 24? It goes in twice. I put my decimal place straight up there. So this is going to be $1.20 a kilo. So $1.20 a kilo. And then I come over here and I do the same thing. I'm going to divide this side by 5. I'm going to divide this side by 5. And the reason why I'm doing that is so I can get this to be a kilo. And I can get this to be, well, what is 550? 5 goes into 5 once. Carry the decimal. 5 goes into 5 once. It's going to be $1.10. $1.10. So that means this is $1.10 a kilo. And now we need to compare the pair. Same super contribution. It's going to be, let me grab this. Sorry, let me grab a pen. Obviously, this one is my cheaper one. $1.10 is less than $1.20. $1.10 is less than $1.20. So this is my best buy. So make sure you've got that down. My best buy, therefore, is this one, 5 kilos for 550 best buy. All right, hopefully you were successful with that one. Let's give it another go. This one's a little bit different. It says, by calculating a common rate, determine the best buy for the following. You know, even though I say it's a little different, it's actually going to be pretty much the same. So give it a go. You might like to pause it and see how you go with it. All right, let's now go through it with you. We've got $9.50, $9.50 for 500 grams, right? And then we've got $39 for 2 kilos. Now, another way of writing 2 kilos, 2 kg, is 2,000 grams. And sometimes it's just nicer to have it written like that. You know, sometimes that's better to have it 2,000 grams. There are multiple different ways to do this. I think the first thing you want to appreciate is that we don't want to go to 1 gram. No way. That's silly. Because it's very easy for us to do something far simpler. And I think the best way to do this is let's get them both to 1,000 grams. So we're trying to figure out a common rate, not necessarily a unit price here, just because I can do this quite easily. I can say, well, I just times this by 2. And then on this side, I'm going from 2,000 to 1 kilo. I divide by 2 because I'm halving it there. So do you see how I'm not kind of just blindly always finding the unit price? Sometimes I'm after that common rate, which is just a number that's easy to get to, because as long as they're the same, I can compare them. They just need to be the same. That's the really important part. All right. What is 950 times 2? What is 950 times 2? Well, it's going to be $19. That's going to be $19 because you're just doubling it. And what's 39 divided by 2? Well, if you weren't 100% sure, you could come down and do this. How many times does 2 go into 3? Goes in 1 time with 1 left over. How many times does 2 go into 19? Well, 2 9s are 18. So it goes in 9 times with 1 left over. So you have to put a dot, put that 0 there, and put a 1 there, because that's now representing your 1 left over, which is now 10 here. How many times does 2 go into 10? 5 times. So it's going to be 1950. So which is your best buy now? Remember, the reason why we can compare these is because they have the same, the weight of them is the same. So it's easy to compare them. So I have $19 a kilo here, and over here I have $19.50 for a kilo. Hopefully you can see which one is going to be cheaper. Let me just highlight these. My cheaper one is going to be this one. This is going to be my best buy. 19 a kilo. So that corresponds to 500 grams for $9.50. That's my best buy. All right, let's scroll down. Let's do another question here. Again, this one's a little different. We'll come here. I have 20 liters of cooking oil for $1.20, or 12 liters of cooking oil for $84. 120? Okay. So I've got 120 for 20 liters. And over here, I have $84 for 12 liters. Whoa. Again, the thing that you want to recognize here is that we don't necessarily have to go to 1 liter. In fact, in this case, it would be a bad move to go to 1 liter. Rather, it's just easier to make them both in common. So if I've got 20 and I've got 12, we're going to think of their common factors. And what's the best common factor that we could both go to here? Well, I'm thinking of 4. It's quite easy to get both of them to 4. I don't really want to be dividing by 12 and dividing by 20 because that's kind of tricky. I mean, it's possible and it's fine. You could, but let's make our lives easier. Why wouldn't you want to be making your life easier? And as long as they're the same, we can compare. So that means I'm going to divide this side by 5 and I'm going to divide this side by 3 because 12 threes are 12 divided by 3 is 4. So as you can see, we don't necessarily have to be finding, 1 liter all the time. As long as they're the same, it doesn't matter. And dividing by 5 and dividing by 3 is easier than dividing by 20 and 12. So I'm going to divide this side by 5. So how many times does what's 120 divided by 5? I'll come here and I'll go 5, 1, 20. How many times does 5 go into 1? It doesn't. How many times does 5 go into 12? It goes in twice with 2 remainders. How many times does 5 go into 20? Wait, did I do this right? How many times does 5 go into 12? It goes in twice with 2 remainders. How many times 5 go into 20? It goes in 4 times. Because that's $24. Perfect. $24. And then we come over here and we do the same thing. I'm going to divide this side by 3. So it's going to be 384. How many times does 3 go into 8? It goes in twice because 3 sixes are 12 with 2 left over. How many times does 3 go into 24? It goes 8 times. So it will be $28. So which is a better price? And I actually won't rewrite them here. What's a better price? $24 for 4 liters or $28 for 4 liters? And hopefully you can tell that 24 is a lower number. So that means that at the end of the day, if I grab my pen, this is my best buy. Perfect. And that is how we approach that question there. So nothing too extraordinary there is going on. I'll give you a second to write all that down, but it's just important that you get a good understanding of what we're doing here. So I'll give you a second, and then I think I'll go through one more question with you guys. All right, this is a big one. This is a big one. All right, so it says washing powder can be purchased in many different quantities by calculating the common rate. So when it says common rate, that means I don't necessarily want to be finding it, you know, maybe it is per kilo, whatever it has to be. It actually says here $1 a kilo. So maybe I do have to figure out $1 a kilo. Rank the following options in order of the best buy to the worst buy. So I've got 500 kilos, I've got 2 kilos, I've got 5 kilos, I've got 10 kilos. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find them all to be in $1 per 1 kilo. That's the best way to approach this question. So how would we set this up? Well, we just kind of work systematically through it. Remember, good working is a hallmark of a good maths student. If you don't have good working, you need to work on that. So I need to go from 500 kilos to 1 kilo. To do that, I'm going to have to times by 2, which means I'll come over here and times it by 2. And I might do this a bit quicker than usual. This will be 418 like that. Then I come to my next one. This is going to be 790 for 2 kilos, right? So I want this to be 1 kilo, which means I'm going to have to divide by 2. 790 divided by 2. Remember, if you're struggling, you could come over here. You could go like this. You could go, how many times does 2 go into 7? Well, 2, 4, 6. It goes in 3 times with 1 left over. How many times does 2 go into 19? Well, that's going to be 9 times because 2 times 9 is 18. I've got 1 left over. How many times does 2 go into 10? It goes in 5 times. So you should be getting pretty efficient at doing that. And remember, your decimal place just comes straight up there. So this is going to be 395. ... Then we come down. We have to do it again. Now for this one, this is 1995. A good year, 1995, for 5 kilos. I'm going to divide by 5. What is that? That's the ugliest looking 5 I've ever seen. 5. Divide by 5. This will be 1 kilo. And then I have to figure out what 1995 is divided by 5. My goodness. So I'm going to have to go 5. 1995. How many times does 5 go into 19? Well, it goes in 3 times with 4 left over because 5 3s are 15, 15, 19, 4. How many times does 5 go into 49? Well, it goes in 9 times because 5 9s are 45, and that means I have 4 left over. How many times does 5 go into 45? It goes in 9 times. Remember, you bring your decimal place straight up from where it is. So this means it's going to be 399. 399 for 1 kilo. Then we come to our final one, in which it is $38 for 10 kilos. I therefore am going to divide both by 10. Remember, when you're dividing something by 10, you just move your decimal place one to the left. So it's going to be $3.80 for 1 kilo, just like that. Now we have to compare. So they all have the same. As you can see, we can compare easily now because they're all a kilo. $4.18, $3.95, $3.99, $3.80. I think our winner is... Actually, we have to list them, don't we? Ugh, I don't want to list them. I might just... What is it? So what is it? We have to list them. Rank the options from best buy to worst buy. All right, your best buy is going to be this, number 1. Then your second one will be $3.95 a kilo. Then the next one will be this one. And then your next one will be that one. So we've just ranked them. Perfect. Now, if you have done all of that, you have finished your homework. Notice that only took us 16 minutes. We don't ask too much in terms of homework. So that's all I'm going to ask for your homework. But if you have extra time, I would highly recommend that you give the challenge questions a go. They're really useful. I'll provide work solutions for you to have a look at them, but I would encourage you to do that. But I'm not going to do those for you because you need to give them a go yourself. I can't do everything for you. All right. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video and it helps you out. I'll see you in the next video.